I now call to order this 9 June 2025 Waynesboro City Council meeting. Mr. Sloat, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. Item 2 on the agenda is adoption of the meeting agenda. Before I start that, I apologize. If you wish to speak at the public hearing or citizens' comments, there are sign-in sheets at the back of chambers. Please make sure that you sign up. So item 2 is adoption of the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Kami. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? All in favor of adopting the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 3 is matters from the mayor. Last Friday, I had the privilege and opportunity to visit the summer kickoff for the Boys and Girls Club. Fun time, talking to the kids for a little bit. And then from there, I went over to talk to the director of WARM, Mr. Gunn, and to see some of the great work that they do there. So it was a good way to start off a Friday. Item 4, matters from council. Okay.
I have one. So I was able to go to the dedication for the new bricks at the Serenity Garden. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. It was a very, very beautiful ceremony. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to go over there or haven't been over recently, go by, enjoy the flowers. Everything's in bloom. It's beautiful. And just enjoy the memories as you walk through and see the names of people that those in our community that care for.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. My first year on council, I had an opportunity to be the speaker there, so a very moving time for me. And my father was lost his life for cancer, so it was good to speak there. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Sloat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 6 is to hold a public hearing and consider introducing an ordinance granting a conditional use permit to the LifeWorks project to allow a food pantry in the RG5 General Residential District at 505 North Winchester Avenue. Tax map number 47-1-36, lots 3 and 24. So before we start that, as I did in the Planning Commission, I am going to recuse myself from vote and discussion at this particular council sitting session. I sat on the Board of Trustees and I am the CFO for the church that is selling that building. I did check with council. There is not a conflict. However, the optics for me present some issues. So I call on Ms. Tate at this time.
Great. Thank you, Mayor and members of council. So prior to holding the public hearing, I will just give a brief overview, kind of summarizing the staff report related to this request and the Planning Commission's recommendation. So as was noted, this is a conditional use permit request at 505 North Winchester Avenue. So to recap kind of what a conditional use permit is, it allows for a case-by-case review of uses which may be, but are not always compatible with neighboring uses. In order to find the use compatible, it needs to be consistent with good zoning practice, no more adverse to health, safety, or comfort of persons living or working in the area than those by right uses that are allowed within the district, and no more detrimental economically or otherwise to property or improvements in the surrounding area than uses that are permitted by right within the district. So the nature of the request, it is a request to operate a food pantry in the RG5, which is our general residential district at 505 North Winchester Avenue. The property is owned by the church across the street, and the building is currently being used by the LifeWorks project for the River City Breadbasket. So the River City Breadbasket opened in late 2023 and serves approximately 500 households a month. The LifeWorks project came to us because they're considering purchasing the property from the church and then also potentially expanding some storage space at that location. So in order to make sure, kind of to protect their investment moving forward, recognizing that it's not an accessory use to the existing church and kind of a standalone use, that's why staff recommended taking them through this conditional use permit process. And within our zoning ordinance, food pantries are something that you can apply for a conditional use permit for within that residential district. So the subject property is zoned RG5, which is general residential, and as I mentioned, food pantries are only permitted within that zoning district by conditional use permit. The yellow color is representative of that general residential zoning, but you note that that area is kind of a mix of zoning as well. So the comprehensive plan does designate the property for medium-density residential. The broader area has traditionally been a mix of residential uses, commercial uses, and even industrial uses. Use of the subject property as a food pantry is not inconsistent with the surrounding uses and the kind of mixture of the area. Staff does note that the food pantry has limited operating hours, which kind of limits the amount of traffic. It's not open all of the time. So you can see the hours there, Thursdays from 4:30 to 7 and Fridays from 10 to 2. Staff did kind of evaluate the on-street and off-street parking, but if an addition is pursued in the future, that's when at that site plan time, we would really be looking at if there are any additional parking requirements that would be needed. So staff recommends approval of the request. We held a public hearing at the Planning Commission. I do not believe we had anyone speak other than the applicant, and the Planning Commission recommends approval of the request. And I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is also here to speak.
I have one question. Would the approval of conditional use permit allow for any type of building structures that wouldn't be permitted in RG5, like size limitation or anything?
No, so any additions that would be applied for would have to meet any setback requirements, any requirements of the underlying zoning district.
Okay.
If you are to approve a conditional use permit, staff has not recommended any conditions, but you all, it's within your purview. If there were conditions that you think should be placed on the use to make it more compatible with the area, you would have that ability.
I hereby open the public hearing.
Yes, sir. Ms. Renee Harrell.
I think the applicant is here to speak also.
Would the applicant want to speak first?
Good evening, council. My name is A.J. Young. I reside at 237 Skyland Avenue in Waynesboro, Virginia. Really quickly, the LifeWorks project started in the summer of 2020 during the height of COVID. My wife and I decided that there were folks who were unsheltered, that needed to eat, that needed hygiene products, that needed to be served. And as a result of that, we formed the LifeWorks project. The LifeWorks project started with feeding 20 to 23 people in our living room, and it turned out to go up to about 60 folks that we were feeding out of our home. And so we decided to start this nonprofit with the express intent of providing practical supports for just everyday people. We started with Fairfax Hall as we identified with the Valley Aging folks that, you know, there are seniors in the community that are just not getting enough to eat too. SNAP is really reduced. It was reduced back then. It's reduced even further now for many of our clients. And so we started in the city of Waynesboro. We moved from Fairfax Hall to some spaces on Commerce Avenue. Some folks were identified there. And then to Springdale Apartments. And then Stanton called and said that, you know, we have a unit here, Frontier Drive, senior community that could use some help too. So during the course of our working with these communities, we identified this building as a place that we would go by on a weekly basis and said that would be a good space to hold a client choice pantry where folks don't get a box, but they're able to get what they want. And so the LifeWorks product started the River City Bread Basket, and it has grown exponentially. We are serving over 500 folks a month, and we expect that to continue to grow. We love the space. We like to stay in the space. It's pedestrian friendly. We've got many folks that just walk up. They ride their bicycles. We continue to serve the unsheltered with go bags in that space as well. And we have endeared ourselves to the neighbors there. We love the neighborhood, and if it's up to this council, we would love to stay there, and we appreciate the fact that the city has worked with us thus far, and we expect that to continue into the future. So thank you very much.
Renee Harrell.
Thank you, Council. I'm a member of the board for the LifeWorks project, and I've also been volunteering at the Bread Basket since its inception. And it is such a wonderful place for the community to go, to be able to shop, to get needed food. I can't tell you how many people will say to me, I don't know what we would do without you, because we really need the food to help make ends meet. And people come with their children, older people, younger people, all age ranges. And some of the young kids, one of them in particular, who sometimes has helped me push the wagons with the food to people's cars, said, you know, I looked in our refrigerator at home and we didn't have any food. And I said, well, I'm really glad you're here today so that you can get some food. And that kind of feeling that you get when you realize that you're really helping people who otherwise in that area of Waynesboro do not have something like this to really help them to feed their families and not have to make a choice between paying rent or getting prescriptions that they need, because we do provide this food for them. And it is people who are working and working hard but cannot make ends meet with the jobs that they have. So we provide a very strong place for the community, for people who need us. And I think it's a wonderful thing for Waynesboro to have such a place as our food pantry where people can come and shop just like we do and pick out the food that they want. And we have vegetables and fruits and all kinds of healthy foods for them to choose from. And when you hear people say to you over and over again, thank you, bless you, I'm really glad you're here, you realize that you are definitely meeting a need. So I hope that this permit will be approved. We have not had any issues with parking. We have not had any issue. We've been there a while now, and that's the other thing. We have established a presence. People depend on us being there. And that's why it's so important for us to be able to stay there so that we can serve these people who have come to depend on us to get the food that they need for their families and for elders who otherwise would not get the food that they need. Thank you.
Connie Wright Zink.
Good evening. Connie Wright Zink, 2404 Broadhead School Road in Middlebrook, Virginia. I am here this evening as a member, even though I'm not a resident of Waynesboro. I've been a member of Virginia Organizing for the last 10 or 11 years in the area. A lot of you probably know me. But one of the reasons I wanted to speak this evening was not just because I support this breadbasket, but, before I get there, can I ask just a general question? How many of the city council people have actually gone to the breadbasket when it was in full operation?
So we don't do question answer sessions doing.
Okay, well, that's all, I just wanted a show of hands. But anyway, if you haven't been there, I really encourage you to go because it is so well run. It's so smooth. So the reason why I am also here today is because I got involved with the breadbasket with my husband, and we've been working on trying to help raise food for the community, but there wasn't any place for us to bring that food until the breadbasket opened. We have, just in the nick of time before the government collapsed, we applied for and were granted a $2,500 grant in order to build a 24 by 14 high tunnel growing building, which will extend our growing period. We've already been donating eggs from our chickens to the breadbasket. I come every Friday. Before I leave the house, I wash all the eggs and I put them in the, cartons and bring them in. Now we have an opportunity to grow produce. I'm driving 20 miles from my house to bring food to this location because it is so important to the neighborhood and to me personally to be able to give back even though I don't live here. And I am really encouraged by seeing when I come on Friday mornings, I come in and I see all the people just waiting patiently in line, chatting with each other. They go in a few at a time, so it's not overwhelming, crowded. And everyone is just really happy to be able to go in and get that little bit of help. So I really am hopeful that you will continue the approval process and make this a permanent decision because this is a wonderful organization. Thank you.
Christine Manu.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Christine Mano, 268 North Delphine Avenue. And I'm not much of a public speaker, but I came in honor of the breadbasket. I am a client and have been since they opened. And basically, all I have to say is if I didn't have the breadbasket, I wouldn't be able to afford rent. They have helped my family so much. And it's a blessing to see their smiling faces every Thursday or Friday and the community that they build. And they help everybody in the area, regardless of gender, race, or nationality. They are open to everybody. It's a safe place to be. And I am honored to be a client of theirs and to be here and able to speak for them. And anything you all can do to help them expedite this wonderful endeavor, I just say, please do it. Thank you.
Sharon Van Name.
I'm Sharon Van Name, 2116 Bellevue. Most Friday afternoons, I'm at the breadbasket doing intake with the clients. You've already heard what a serious and what a wonderful thing it is for people to have their food needs met. But I'd like to talk to you, too, about the social needs. When I'm there, it's such a happy place. People are there, they're chatting with each other. They generally come pretty much the same time every week. I know most of their names. Sometimes I have to ask for one to get it into the computer, but mostly I know them, they know each other, and it is a wonderful hub for community, for solidarity, for fellowship. It is a truly wonderful place that feeds not only body, but soul also. Thank you.
Ann Flory.
Good evening. My name is Ann Flory. I live 112 Baines Road, Waynesboro. I shop there for a church friend who has vertigo, and I have been doing this for her since January. And the first time I went, I was amazed at the amount of food that this food pantry has to offer to the people. So it is a blessing that they're there, and I hope they will continue to be in that location. The parking is wonderful because it is off the main road, so that is not an issue. So I hope this permit will be granted to them. Thank you.
Donna Yobs.
Hi, Council. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm also on the board of LifeWorks and just wanted to highlight a couple other points in addition to all that's been mentioned. One is that we are in a food desert. Our location is so key to where the need is. And we've got lots of local families who walk or bike to us or take the Bright Bus. A lot coming from Fairfax Hall. The other thing I also wanted to showcase was that we're part of an ecosystem. We allow a lot of our partners, a lot of churches, an insurance company, they all sponsor shelves and enjoy being part of the community. That this is, as somebody said, it's a community hub. We also use some of the fresh food from the Waynesboro educational farm. One day we had a family in there, and the mother, I was like, we've got some new bok choy. This came straight from the farm. She's like, we don't eat that. And the son's like, I helped plant that. And they immediately took it. But I mean, he was bouncing up and down, being able to see what he grew and see it going to other families. The impact that we're having on that, on the whole community is amazing. The last story is we had 2 young volunteers from the high school, and they both at different times said, I had a problem with depression. I come here and the other volunteers talk to me, the shoppers talk to me, and I am doing something. So the value we bring to our volunteers is also very important. And they both said their depression has gone down a whole bunch because they're part of community, and that was what they were missing. So thank you again for this great opportunity to use a CUP as it's meant to be used. Thank you.
That's it.
I hereby close the public hearing. Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Comby. Any discussion? Council will consider adopting this ordinance at the June 23rd regular business meeting. Item 7 is to consider adopting a resolution authorizing the city of Waynesboro to serve as the fiscal agent for the Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Programming for Highland County. Call on Ms. Jenny Newman, Director, Central Shenandoah Office on Youth.
So I'm going to precede Jenny and clarify something. The notes I've provided, in addition to the staff report that you received, indicate that we're being asked to serve as the fiscal agent. What Jenny will describe is actually folding the Highland County into our program. So it's a little, to say that we're acting as the fiscal agent kind of understates what we're contemplating. So that's my mistake.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lee. Thank you, Mr. Hamp. The Virginia Juvenile Community Crime Control Act was enacted in 1995 to facilitate quality services and outcomes for youth and families throughout Virginia. We've had the grant for this since 1996. And in 2000, when the Offices on Youth locally combined, this grant was also combined under the state. So it is a combined plan right now. So the funds from Waynesboro, Stanton, and Augusta County all pooled together. VJCCCA is meant to be a community-based system. It encourages communities to develop, implement, and operate and evaluate programs and services in response to the juvenile offenders' needs and the crime trends in our own community. It provides an adequate level of services for every juvenile domestic relation court. We serve the 25th district. It allows local autonomy and flexibility, encourages public and private partnerships and delivery of services, emphasizes parental responsibility through these community-based services that hold juveniles and families accountable for their behavior. There are 3 populations that we target with these state funds: youth that are at risk of entering the juvenile justice system, youth before intake on complaints, and youth before the court on actual petitions. The VJCCCA funding may be used for youth who have been screened as needing services to prevent their involvement in the juvenile justice system as well. And prevention is a larger area that the state is starting to focus these funds on. Programs may also be provided for diversion opportunities for youth who have had contact with the juvenile intake system. So a diversion from the system is what we're looking at. So prevention may not have worked, or they may not have touched the prevention system, but we're still trying to divert the youth from going before the judge. The programs who are before the court and who are involved with the court: youth that are a child in need of services or child in need of services for supervision are also eligible for these funds. Traffic offenses with juveniles are not eligible, so we do not serve those individuals. The state has a balanced approach model to juvenile justice, and it works very well with the intent of the VJCCCA. We promote community protection, hold juveniles accountable, provide opportunities for juveniles to acquire or build on interpersonal, cognitive, and behavioral skills and strengths at home, school, and at work. Detention alternative programs through VJCCCA are those that are like electronic monitoring, an ankle monitor, house arrest, supervision. So those are things that a judge or an intake officer can actually order for use of these funds and keep the child with their parents in their home rather than having them sit in detention until their potential hearing. Diversionary, as I said, are programs and services that we provide to help divert them from the court. And then our plan also includes prevention programs. Prevention programs are mainly done through the schools currently for youth that are identified that have truancy issues or that have disciplinary issues in the schools. We offer them programs that hopefully will divert the child back to working with the school system and their parents to become better citizens and better stewards in their school system. The VJCCCA funds give judges additional alternative sentencing options, communities that receive funding to create or enhance programs as is needed. It gives localities greater flexibility to design programs, again, to meet their needs. We have a team that actually meets at least twice a year to look at the evaluation report that we do with the state annually, and to rebuild the new plan. A new plan is built every 2 years. Localities, schools, Commonwealth attorneys, and the judges in the court system are on that team. The number and variety of programs and services available to youth has increased in our community. Combining Highland County into our plan, that we will absorb Highland County into this plan, is going to offer them some of the services that we offer, and it will bring that funding to our plan. The funding is just under $7,000. We have requested additional funds the past 2 years, as the state has allowed us, for our Stanton, Augusta, and Waynesboro plan to help offset some grants that did not come through to continue some of our programs. So this would be a way for us to get that small amount of money, $7,000, offer some of these services to Highland County, but also enhance our programs here. Highland County has given back their funding for the past 20 years, so they have not utilized the funds. The programs that I anticipate they may be interested in would be our prevention programs. So that would be a truancy prevention program and what we call Third Millennium Classrooms. It's a nationally recognized evidence-based program. It is done online. These are not small, just short courses, answer a couple of questions. They're 2 hours to 4 hours long. They have to answer a lot of questions and do check-ins afterward. At this time, Highland County Schools have been offered those programs over the past 2 years from a worker in the Highland County area, and they have not said they are interested. So I don't know if they'll take us up on it, but by us absorbing that into the plan, we will give them that information. All of our programs, and this program as well, when we put information into the state system, it is broken down by locality. So if there's any interest in our evaluation reports, in the criminogenic needs in our area, what the children are, what issues they're having, we have all that data, and that data goes back quite a number of years. I'm happy to answer any questions about this resolution.
Thank you, Ms. Newman. Any questions from Ms. Newman or the staff? Thank you, Jenny. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution establishing Waynesboro as the fiscal agent for the VJCCC programming for Highland County?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 8 is to consider adopting a resolution supporting the city's application for a hazard mitigation grant from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Mr. Ham.
Yes, sir. The Federal Emergency Management Agency provides grant funding to communities to enable the mitigation of future disaster-related losses. The Public Works Department is seeking approval to submit a hazard mitigation grant application through the Virginia Department of Emergency Management to FEMA to assist in the funding of the construction of a new Shenandoah Village Drive water pump station. The design of the Shenandoah Village Drive water pump station is currently underway with an estimated completion date of the end of this month. Once the design is complete, the city will be positioned to move forward with construction of the new pump station. The new pump station will replace an existing station which is undersized to meet demand and is vulnerable to flooding. The current pump station is a vault-style pump station and flooded during recent Tropical Storm Helene, which occurred in the fall of 2024. That flooding resulted in the pump station becoming inoperable for a period of 20 hours and disrupting the city's ability to provide safe drinking water. The hazard mitigation program application will be for $4.4 million to construct the above-ground pump station, which will mitigate future flooding risk. If awarded the grant, the city will have a fund match requirement, which can be funded through the water fund retained earnings or debt reserve. The cost share percentages are yet to be published. The grant application must be submitted by 18 July of this year to be eligible during this funding period. So I have some additional information. The total project construction cost is estimated to be about $7 million. So the $4.4 million grant application will be a little bit more than half of that total project cost. There is a 25% match requirement, which would be $1.1 million. It is possible that the grant could be funded in full according to the application, or some amount less than the application amount. In any event, the staff would appreciate council's support in making this application.
Any questions for staff? Is there a motion to adopt the resolution supporting the FEMA grant application?
I'll move.
Thank you, Mr. Swope. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Short. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Item 9 is to consider introducing an ordinance amending the 2025 budget in the amount of $8,528,270 for the FY 2026 CIP. Mr. Ham.
Yes, sir. So this evening, I would note and emphasize, we're simply introducing the ordinances, and that we'll schedule a public hearing or public hearings for our June 23rd, and council will be asked to adopt then. Mr. McCormick gave sort of an overview, preview of what the work that you're being asked to undertake this evening, but I'll do a quick refresher. Items 9 and 10 relate to the FY '26 capital improvement plan. These were the large projects, the traditional capital improvement plan. It was presented at a regular business meeting on May 27. The plan identifies projects and corresponding funding plans for the fiscal year 2026. And as that is the only year that can be currently appropriated. No changes have been made to the plan since its initial presentation. The CIP will need 2 budget amendments, one for '25 and one for '26. The remaining years, so that multi-year portion of the plan, will be presented by Mr. McCormick at the June 23rd meeting prior to the public hearing. So we did include an attachment to the staff report, and you can see the ordinance and that next year's traditional capital improvement plan with the large projects and the associated funding sources. It is split into 2 ordinary because some of this is fund balance from the current fiscal year, and some of it, $520,000 of the capital improvement plan, is funded by recurring revenue in fiscal 2026. Happy to answer any questions.
Just a question, Mike, on if I were to go to, see, I don't know, there's no page numbers on here, but on the briefing document, you go to not the first page, but the second page of the ordinance. It says adopted by the City Council at a meeting held on blank 2026. I presume that's supposed to be 2025.
I think you're right. We'll correct that before.
And then likewise on the subsequent one following the CIP under item 10, it also says 2026.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I had.
Okay, is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Wood. Any discussion? This ordinance will be the subject of a public hearing and receive final consideration at the June 23rd regular business meeting. Item 10 is consider introducing an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2026 budget in the amount of $520,000 for the FY 2026 CIP. Mr. Ham.
Yes, sir. The attached budget amendment and appropriation ordinance totaling $57 million is intended to amend the fiscal '26 budget. State code requires that any amendment to a locality's budget which exceeds 1% of the currently adopted budget may only be adopted following an advertised public hearing. So this will be the second public hearing on June 23rd. The amendment is necessary to move forward the Waynesboro High School renovation project and anticipates the transfer of both general funds, transfer of general funds that were previously appropriated during fiscal year '26 to the bond fund, as well as general obligation borrowing during fiscal year 2026. The borrowing of funds will likely be needed at the beginning of calendar year 2026. Council will need formal action at that time to borrow the funds. This ordinance only appropriates the funds. The project was one of the main priorities of council over the last 2 budget cycles. Work has been done to create a reserve to fund the future borrowing, and more work will be needed to be done in the coming budget cycles. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions?
Point of order, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
We have skipped to number 11, but number 10
Yeah. I
was
thought,
never acted upon.
okay.
Well, he read 520, and then Mike jumped into 57 million. I thought we'd just do 57 million. I was doing a point of order after that.
I'm glad she says, because I was like, huh?
No, you said 520 and then he
Yes.
jumped to
And then he
57 million.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Ordinance for 520,000.
Shame on you, Mr. Hand.
Circle
Off,
back.
5-yard offsides, replay the down.
Okay. So, do you want to,
So we just need a motion for the ordinance, for the 520,000 CIP plan.
I'll make that motion.
thank you, Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Thank you. So that will be considered at the June 23rd regular business meeting.
Correct.
All right. So on to
The 57 million.
the 57. All right. Item 11 is consider introducing an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2026 budget in the amount of $57 million to fund improvements to Waynesboro High School.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Now have a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. The orders will be subject of public hearing and receive final consideration at the June 23rd regular business meeting. Item 12 is consider introducing an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2026 budget in the amount of $1,486,870 to fund the small capital plan. Mr. Ham.
So these are the small capital items. If there are any questions regarding this ordinance, I'm happy to answer them. This ordinance will not require a public hearing at the next meeting.
Any questions? Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Stowe. Is there a second?
I'll say.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? Council will consider adopting this ordinance at the June 23rd regular business meeting. Item 13, citizen comment.
Okey dokey. Sarah Hines, I apologize if I'm misreading the last name, Sarah Hines. How about Lauren Mowry? They both signed up to speak about the breadbasket. Andrea Jackson.
Andrea Jackson, Ward A. I came to speak for the breadbasket, but you know I'll be late. So I'm just going to say everybody said a great job. I just wanted to say that my mother and I go and volunteer every, almost every Friday. She volunteers every Friday. It's right down the road from where we live. And that, like everyone else said, it's a blessing. It is a community. AJ and Adrian do good work, and that everybody is well respected, and that they always call my mom Miss Otia, and she, for my mom, it's like she go into her job every Friday, and she always be telling me what's going on at the breadbasket if I don't go and do my volunteer shift. So anyway, that's like her little part-time job. So anyway, like everyone says, it is a community. It is bringing something into the community, like they say. It is a food desert, but also it's bringing dignity to people. I have before, in the last 5 years, had services, been on staff, been on to food banks, and it gives you a choice. Whereas just giving you a box, and you may not like that stuff. So it's giving you a dignity and fresh food, and that's something that people need. And also, I wanted to say, and I'm going to keep coming up and saying it throughout the summer until I leave, that, like I said, I was disappointed with how the tax situation went down, and I let y'all know how it was the last time, and I'm going to keep saying how it was. And just like I let those people before say how when they come every 2 years and say that they don't like the taxes. They like the taxes being low. They come every 2 years, and then they don't be. You don't see them until the taxes come up. But I'll come. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let y'all know every time that I was not pleased with that situation, how it was. And so, and I don't think when I was here before that I got my point across. And when I did say it before, what I was trying to say is that I did not like how renters was treated in this situation. Waynesboro has a proportionate, a higher proportion renters than most cities. And when we was advocating for renters, it was just sort of like, oh, okay, well, at least, you know, they got a place to lay their head. And I felt like, well, the people who have houses, well, you know, buying a house, you know that you got to pay your property taxes. That's just how it is. And having a house is, you know what I mean? That's a privilege, even if you're working. My mom pays her taxes, and we live in Ward A, and the taxes went up. And a lot of people's in Ward A's taxes went up. But you have to pay your taxes. That's just it.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. Item 14, communication correspondence calendar. Mr. Hand.
Ms. Tate is going to help me out with this one tonight.
Okay.
So I just wanted to share with all of council and obviously our citizens that we are undertaking the Waynesboro Comprehensive Plan update. And we have a meeting, our kickoff meeting, scheduled for June 18th. The time is from 4:30 to 7:30 at Waynesboro High School. You can come at any time within that 3-hour window, and there will be several stations and kind of interactive environment for you to communicate. So the main objectives of this first meeting is awareness. So we're trying to, the project team wants to raise awareness about what a comprehensive planning process is, why the document is so important, and then how as a citizen you can stay involved through this almost 2-year process. Another probably most important core purpose of the meeting is going to be listening and hearing community needs. So we're going to be listening to feedback, laying the foundation for the recommendations of the plan. But I did want to point out that that is not the only way to be involved. So if you can't attend that meeting, there will also be a survey going out, and then another interactive social pinpoint exercise where you can actually, see a map of the city and you can place different icons on the map. You can point out opportunity areas, you can point out weakness areas, you can point out areas that you really love. So that in addition to a survey that will be going around. And then the June 18th kickoff meeting is just the first meeting. There'll be another citywide workshop event sometime in the fall of this year, and then in the spring of next year, another workshop event where we're kind of diving into and getting citizens to affirm the overall strategies of the plan, and then another open house event with the draft plan in fall of 2026. So this is really just the kickoff. You'll be seeing it, and we sent out a press release, so hopefully you're seeing it and hearing about it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
I have questions. Survey coming out, how's it going out? Will residents get it or directly or?
Well, so there is a public engagement plan that was approved by the advisory council. It will be on our website. We have talked about the possibility of potentially doing postcards that would have like a QR code. So I don't know, final decisions have been made on that, but it will be put out on all of our social media channels, on our website. We plan to host some like pop-up events, so where community members are already out at maybe a Greenway event or a farmer's market, being there to pass out information. We also sent out emails earlier today to all the different stakeholder groups, so groups that represent housing, groups that represent the business community, Parks and Rec, so it involves city staff, but also other nonprofit networks and others in the community. So those went out to hold detailed like stakeholder interviews with all of those groups. But happy to share the public engagement plan that we've put together that kind of walks through what the goals are and how we're going to achieve those goals.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it, Alyssa.
Any other questions? All right, item 15, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Comer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Woods. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.